Today, our panel's topic is the biofuels revolution. And as one who's practiced in the energy area for more than 30 years, let me say that, in fact, this is indeed a revolution. Our panel today will bring you up to date on some of the developments that are happening with biofuels, as well as the future of the industry, and it will address some of the emerging issues that face this industry. And that is, would you please provide us with your views of where we are in the biofuels revolution and what your company is doing to advance that revolution? Do you want to start on this?
I'll start there, Peter. It's very interesting. I shouldn't pick on the moderator to start with, but seeing a few lawyers around in ties, for some reason, gives me a Washington, D.C. feeling. And, there's a different feeling there sometimes.
Old habits die hard.
And, if I look back at the first generation of biofuels now, it's actually made a big impact. I mean, if you just take California, ethanol is a $2 billion revenue business. By definition, over 5% market share. So great first progress. But sometimes you worry that people are thinking, gee, let's just hit it harder and faster and more, and that's better. And I think that's the difference, because I think the first generation has made great progress, but has challenges around feedstock, around infrastructure, and at the end of the day, around energy efficiency. And that's kind of where LS9 comes in. We are truly a second-generation plant business. We are currently funded by KOSLA and Flagship Ventures. You will not be able to get our product tomorrow at your gas station. I apologize. We are a 3 to 5 year out cycle process. We are about taking synthetic biology and industrial biotechnology to customize an industrial microbe that produces hydrocarbons. This deals with many of the same issues that we've talked about. From a feedstock, it doesn't care what feedstock, it's feedstock agnostic, as we've said. Overall energy efficiency is over 90%. You don't have to redistill this product. 1,000 joules comes in the feedstock, 900 ends up in the product. And finally, it is a hydrocarbon and is compatible with existing infrastructure. As I said, it's not coming tomorrow. It's a 3 to 5 year cycle. We even heard the venture capitalists this morning talk about it. It's a 10-year process to get to scale. And quite frankly, we need everyone in this space to succeed because it's such a huge marketplace. We have currently publicly talked the fact that we're making a diesel product. We have other hydrocarbons we're making. We can make the gamut of transportation fuels and fine chemicals. And our process right now, we're in a process of scale up, just like they did with penicillin, just like they did with lactic acid. Most recently, Genencore did with 1,3-propanediol. It's about getting our scale up and getting it off the bench scale and continuing it. It's just a matter of time.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Wolfson, and I'm the president and COO of Solazyme. And we have an interesting perspective on biofuels. I think that if I tell you that Solazyme's 4 years old, it'll sound awfully short to most of you, but I can also tell you that when we first started talking to people about what we're doing now back in 2003, there was very little in the way of convergence between life sciences and clean technology and energy then. And a lot of people, frankly, looked at us like we were crazy, and we're very happy now to look out at the audience and to interact with people who feel a lot differently than they did back then. I can also tell you that you probably won't have heard a lot about our company because we've kind of been in a head-down mode working on the technology now for quite a long time. And Solazyme is an algal biotechnology company. We use many of the same tools that Robert discussed, synthetic biology, metabolic engineering, to engineer a particular class of microorganism to produce high-value compounds. The thrust of our business is in energy and industrial, and we also do some work in health and wellness. In energy and industrial specifically, we have a development stage project producing a triacylglyceride, which is a feedstock for a biodiesel process. And in fact, the work has gone into optimizing it to make it ideal for a transesterification process. It's also a potential feedstock for a renewable diesel process, which would be hydrotreating. We also believe that it is applicable to a jet fuel, specifically through hydrocracking and hydrotreating. And with respect to that technology, which we've been working on for quite a few years, we are at this point really scaling it up. And let me be a little bit more specific about that. When we first went out to talk to big oil companies and people who had been filling those gaps in transportation fuel business for the last 100 years, what they told us was pretty uniform. And what they said was, don't tell us that you can make the appropriate molecule, and don't tell us what you think the cost can be. Show us first that you can do it at scale. And show us first that you can do it at scale because we have 100 years of experience with taking processes that can be done at scale and coming down the cost curve. And so we've quietly been spending the last almost 4 years now scaling up these processes, and we're at a point now where we're still quite far from commercial, but we can produce thousands of gallons of triacylglyceride today, and I believe hundreds of thousands of gallons potentially in 2008, and some of that will depend on capital expenditure decisions we make and things of that nature, but we can scale up and we can do a lot of amazing things with the fuel that we're producing now. We also have a secondary project that's really in the research stage, which is biocrude, which is a hydrocarbon, and that's an earlier stage, and we can still produce that at quite small quantities, and have a lot of hope that we're going to be advancing that technology as well. I think I've already taken my 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over.
John?
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Jonathan. Good morning or afternoon, actually. I keep forgetting what time it is.
Just a little bit after.
Good afternoon. A little bit about where I think we are in the biofuels evolution and where Amyris is or where it plays. I would say we're an adolescent is kind of where I would position the biofuels sector as a whole. Adolescence meaning, lots of talk, lots of hype, not quite sure what the reality is, and really, really quite noisy. So a good thing is the financial markets are starting to appreciate risk again. And then kind of beyond that, where Amyris is specifically, our focus is really completing our first project, which we will be handing off to a large-scale pharmaceutical at the end of this year, beginning of next year. It becomes our first successful product to market. We started our company basically in being able to redesign a bug that makes artemisinin, and it was around a very simple strategy. Artemisinin is the highest cost ingredient in a malarial solution today, an anti-malarial solution. And our focus was on reducing the cost with a target of saving 500,000 to 600,000 children's lives a year. We've been successful at working our way down the cost curve and are now in the process of moving it to a pharmaceutical partner for scale. That work led to a platform technology that's now focused on our next generation products, which are in the fuels arena. And our focus is transportation fuels. We have 3 hydrocarbon fuels that have now been through lab testing, and one has gone a little bit beyond lab testing that we feel very, very good about. The 3 products are a diesel product, a gasoline product, and a jet product. 3 hydrocarbons, all being produced now and really focused on scale up at this point. Our first pilot plant will go into production sometime next year. And we're focused on not only a great technology platform that's hydrocarbon fuel-based for the transportation sector, we're also focused on the value chain, field to customer, and ensuring that we can capture value from having a distinctive fuel that, in effect, is lowest CO2 and highest impact for the end consumer. Our cost target is $45 a barrel cost equivalent. We believe depending on subsidies and trying to subsidize a business is not a sustainable model long term. We believe the important thing is to understand that we will have to be compatible and work with alternatives, and the alternatives today are fossil-based fuels.
Okay, Steve, how about biofuel bonds?
Well, first off, as you mentioned, biofuels have been around for decades, and we're very encouraged by the momentum that's been built over the last several years through, as evidenced by worldwide mandates that are, every month you read about a new mandate in some country for biofuel blends. So that's all very encouraging. What that has done to this emerging industry is it's drawn a lot of investment, and that investment quite naturally has attracted lots of great technologists and great entrepreneurs who have come together to form companies. And again, quite naturally, the initial money behind biodiesel, which is what we're focused on, went into large plants based on conventional technology. And that conventional technology is terrific for solving some of the near-term biodiesel demand that these mandates are driving, or tax incentives are driving as well. However, they've created a race for feedstock, and that feedstock is limited to pure oils. When you take a look at conventional biodiesel,